So there's a strange idea that's becoming true in our modern world. For most of history, families, they controlled their own secrets. But now, sometimes, a website finds them first. Okay, so imagine this is you over here, and you decide to do one of those DNA tests where you spit into a test tube, and then those results, they go away to some lab. This lab does genetic testing on your DNA. And you think, okay, cool, nothing much of it, whatever. Your results come back and they show you, okay, you are this percentage that and that percentage that, and your sister over here is actually related to you. Hooray, she's not adopted. Now, what becomes strange is this database that now has all of your DNA data in it is creating this sort of family tree where a lot more of your relatives, whether they're distant or not, are slowly starting to be connected to you. Cool. Now, there's one person in particular over here. This person has a surprisingly high genetic match to you. Her DNA sitting at a 99% similar. That's the same as your sister to you. So you think, what? And then you message this person and you say, hi, I see that we're a 99% match. And after a few back and forth messages and you going back to your family and saying, wait, what's going on here? You eventually reveal the secret. This is your long-lost sister. Your mother had her when she was young. Now you're a 28-year-old person. You didn't even know about this person your entire life. This has just exposed a grand family secret just because of a database of genetic information. So a story with a very similar premise to the one you just watched actually appeared on Reddit. And here it is. Someone had found their family member's DNA on the site because it had said that they were a match. And during a conversation trying to figure out how they were connected and who this person is, they actually realized their aunt had a daughter. And this daughter, the entire family didn't actually know about. And they were just exploring their ancestry. And you know what? Their DNA actually connected them in a weird way. And the DNA database connected these two people. And family secret, it surfaced. And what makes this moment quite unsettling is that nobody revealed this grand secret. No one confessed, no one told their story that they've been hiding from people. The database, it simply matched two strands of DNA. The system, it didn't know which parts of family history were meant to stay hidden. So for most of history, secrecy relied on something very simple, and that was silence. If no one spoke about something, then it could theoretically just disappear. But DNA databases, they changed that because information isn't stored in our memories anymore. It's stored on a database in the cloud, somewhere physical, actually. And that data obviously comes from biology in this example. And you don't actually have to upload your data, but your relatives might. And once enough relatives exist in the system, the network, it fills in the missing pieces, because that's something that these machine learning and AI models are very good at, predictability. And when those pieces are filled, hold on, there's someone driving a bicycle here. So when those missing pieces are filled, a story, it emerges, whether it's intended or not. So these databases, they already contain tens of millions of people's DNA that exists on it. There's a whole controversy about who owns this data, but that's for another video. But every new participant that's added expands this genetic network. And something interesting happens as the network grows. Even people that never took a DNA test or subscribed to this, I don't know, product, can still be identified with the data it has. And that's because their relatives did it. Investigators have already used this information to close some cold cases from like decades ago. And it's done by tracing the suspects through distant relatives in their DNA database. So this kind of means that the system already recognizes, or rather the system is capable of recognizing, even when individuals never really volunteered their information in the first place. Now, I invite you to imagine where this goes in the future. Now, imagine a world where most people's DNA exists in this system and effectively this database. Family trees, they become mapped automatically. Algorithms, they're able to trace relationships across generations. You know the notion of, what is your great-great-grandmother's name? I don't know, and if my parents were not alive, I probably wouldn't be able to gather that information. But now, with these systems, it might be possible. And you know, because at this scale of mapping almost everybody, this biology, it becomes searchable. And not just for genealogy, but for almost everything. Governments, they could trace individuals from genetic relatives. Companies, they might predict your behavior based upon the traits of your relatives that they already know. The idea of a family secret, it begins to disappear. And it's not because humans stopped keeping secrets, but because the structure of the world changed and this technology was introduced. You know, biology itself, it became a database. For thousands of years, families, they controlled their own stories. What was told, what was forgotten, and what stayed hidden. But now the stories, they live somewhere else, in genetic networks, in algorithms that connect people through DNA. And sometimes the system quietly reveals information that the family really didn't want revealed. And you know, that random notification that said, hey, you share the DNA with this person. A secret that lasted, I don't know, days, months, years, decades, now becomes visible. And it's not because someone revealed the truth or couldn't live with the truth anymore. Or it was so far ago that you actually are related to this serial killer, murderer person. You know? And I am a big advocate in the truth always comes out in the end. But I don't know. Does this make us slightly uncomfortable? I'm not actually sure. Anyway, I will check you guys tomorrow.